What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today we're going to be doing a Shoreline Scav guide for new players looking to gain some early game task items, as well as just learning the map of Shoreline. I'm going to show you my favorite run to take through Shoreline. It's not a high tier loot guide by any means, but it is a guide for new beginners just to find some hideout upgrades, early game tasks, and you may get lucky and find some valuable items along the way as well, some high tier, high value items. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you enjoy the video, drop a like, hit the subscribe button. So we're down here at the construction site, which is in the southeast of the map. I like to start here. This is a common spawn for a scav to spawn in at. I usually like to start with these buildings here. All I do is quickly run along, quick scan, check all the buildings and these crates here. Move along this blue fence and we start to head down towards the center of the map. I like to quickly just check on top of this crate right here. Sometimes you can get some gold spawns and other high tier items here. Continue along, check out all of these little demountable buildings or tin sheds, whatever you want to call them, right here, as well as the construction site. You can find general barter items in all of these. The main thing that we're looking for here in the construction site is this trailer right here on my left. In the back can be 1 to 2 weapon spawns right here and a couple of weapon attachments right here. Now I like to head back the way we came. We're going to be heading up to the north side of the map, but using the east side. So we're going to head across to the east of the map. We're heading towards the road to customs extract, and from there we're going to navigate our way up to the new area of the map, which I believe was added in the last wipe, and that's where we're going to be doing the majority of our loot. I just thought I'd point out this area down in the construction, as you can get 1 to 2 free weapons in that crate, in that trailer back there, and there is quite a lot of general barter items that spawn down here as well. We're just going to let our stamina bar recharge a little bit. I like to stick along this blue fence right here, as PMCs do like to sit up on some of these ridge lines up here along the road. So it's a good little bit of cover. Just follow along the blue fence to this opening at the end, and then we're going to leave the construction site and start heading towards the east side of the map. As we're going along, you can check these couple of cars right here and the truck in the back. There will be a couple of items spawn. I'm in an offline raid at the moment, so the loot is going to be a little different to what it will look like in-game. You can check the back of this car too. In offline raids, the loot seems to be a little less common, so do bear with me. We might get some stuff as we go a little further along, but you will notice when you're doing your scav runs, there will be a lot more items that spawn in each of these locations. So we're just heading around to the east side of the map now. This road out here on my right is going to lead up to road to customs. It is always a good idea to sort of get your map knowledge up so you can use these as reference points. If you have a second monitor, you can pull the map up on a second monitor or just on your phone. And what we're going to be doing here is heading over to the guard tower, which we'll be able to see in just a second. Guard tower right there, and a couple of cars that spawn down here where this crash truck is. In the back of this yellow van, there is the potential for a fuel spawn. Sometimes you can find the cans of fuel in the back here. We don't have one right now, but in the back there is also the luggage container. Sometimes this can spawn some relatively decent loot inside. I'm going to like to head along here and quickly check under this little shack. Sometimes there's a couple of items, as you can see right here, and sometimes in this corner too. And I head up the guard tower, and at the top there will be the potential for 1 or 2 weapon spawns, usually only 1, and it is going to be right here in this corner. You come around the front, we've got a weapon box or a weapon crate right here. Sometimes inside here you can find body armors, backpacks, vests, scopes, weapon attachments, clothing items, all kinds of things in these. It's always worth checking to see if it's there. Head around the back. You can open the door to the actual tower itself and check inside. There is between 1 and 3 weapon attachments that spawn in here. So if you've got a flashlight, just pop that on, because it is quite dark in here. You can see, doesn't look like there's any in here right now, but usually it's just on the ground in here. Just look around a little bit. If you get the little white dot prompt, that means that there is something on the floor and you can loot it. Once I've checked up here, I start heading up this road in front of me. This is going to lead straight up to road to customs. This can be an extract for scavs sometimes, so just keep that in mind. It may not be lootable if it is an extract, because where most of the loot spawns is within the extract zone. Just pay attention to that. I don't currently have it, so I can show you what's in there. I usually like to stick to the side of the road as we run up, just in case there is a PMC up here waiting for you. Have these trees as a little bit of cover, or on the right side here, there's a little bit more cover over there, a few ditches you can run through. Another thing to look out for as you're running up the road to customs is there is usually 2 to 3 AI scavs that will spawn here after about 5 minutes in raid. So if you do see them running around, it usually means it's relatively safe to approach, but if you do see them dead on the ground, just keep your eyes open for PMCs, as they could be camping this spot waiting for other scavs to come and extract. So as we head around the back here, this is the road to customs exfil, this area right here. We do have a couple of grenade boxes that spawn here. There's usually one also spawns right here, and one on the last little barrier right there. So you can see there's a couple of loose barter items there, and then underneath this crate there is usually another weapon box right here. It is a little bit finicky, this one. You've got to look down and walk forward to actually get under these beams, but there is sometimes a box that spawns right there. Alright, so as we're heading out, we're heading towards the main area where we want to loot now. So what I like to do is just run along this fence here at Road to Customs. I like to stick pretty close to the fence just for a bit of extra cover. There can sometimes be PMCs that camp up here where this radio tower is, so just be aware of that. What I usually quickly do is just run out here to this little bundle of trees, and there can be a hidden cache that spawns right here next to this tree in amongst the bushes. It is a little bit open, this area, so it's up to you if you want to check for that one or not, but they can spawn some pretty decent items in them sometimes, the hidden caches. Now just head along this tree line here. I like to stay inside the trees just for a little bit of extra cover. Let my stamina bar recharge, and we're going to be sprinting up to where this metal beam is right here. Just let that stamina recharge for a second. So just as a point of reference, up there on the hill is the resort, and we are to the east of the resort right now. So you have your map pulled up on your other screen. Just refer to that. This is the area up here that we're going to be doing the majority of our looting. So what I like to do when I enter in from this side is quickly turn to the left here. There can be another weapon box that spawns right here, as well as a couple of ammo crates that spawn right here. Up against the table here, there can be a couple of weapon attachments on the table, and another ammo box that spawns right here. I like to go and check inside this tent. There's another couple of weapon attachments can spawn on this table, as well as a weapon box that can spawn on this table here, and ammo sometimes on the chair. I like to head back out the way we came, and then we're going to go down to this first warehouse here. Just before we go in the warehouse, we're going to check these tables over here on the right. You can find some food and beverage items that spawn right here. I usually look out for sugars for crafting moonshines, as well as moonshines themselves. I've found spawn on these tables here, as well as on this crate right here. There is sometimes 1 or 2 items can spawn right here, as you can see. And I like to head into the warehouse here, check all these tables. You can find water filters and all kinds of barter items in here. There is sometimes a weapon box spawns right here on the table, as well as this one right here is a food crate. Again, look for sugar, that kind of thing. Cigarettes are an early task item as well. Alright, so after I check that, I keep heading down, check the tables here on the right, more barter items, and this table right here spawns a couple of weapon attachments. This one here can spawn a toolbox, as well as a couple of loose items. Good idea to check here. And then these tables here with the white papers on the top, there's quite a lot of them, as you can see, all the way around. These can sometimes spawn gold items on them. They can sometimes be inside of the papers, so I like to just walk up to the table and get real close and just check to see if that white prompt pops up for the looting. That way you can tell what it is, and once you kind of get close enough, you will get as you can see, it comes up with what the item is and whether you want to pick it up or not. As you can see right there, the dry fuel underneath the paper. And some of the smaller items will actually blend right into the paper, so it's a good idea to check. Same with this one here. I have found Bitcoins, gold skull rings, and GP coins in these spots before, so it is always a good idea to come past and check. This table right here, another food and beverage spawn. Sometimes I find moonshines here. It's always a good idea to walk past and have a look. Same with these tables here. As you can see, the little white dots popped up. It is a small item, so you just got to move around a little bit until you find where it's at, and it will tell you what it is when you land on it. It can be quite tricky. Sometimes it's easier to just get up on the table and stand right above it. That way you can see a little better. This one here is very tricky, as you can see. May actually be under the table sometimes, I'm not sure. Too hard. Anyway, moving along, this is a medical crate right here. This can spawn saluas in it, which are needed for one of the first tasks that you will get when you start. There's other medical items also spawning here. These are always good to check because you can never go with too many meds, go without too many meds. Again, on these shelves right here, you can find fuel spawn on any of these shelves right here, so it's always a good idea to check these. After I've checked in here, I like to head out through this door, turn to the left. This is another food and beverage spawn right here. Again, you can find moonshines here as well as sugars and other sort of more valuable food and beverage items. I like to head across this little yard here, quickly check this table. Sometimes you can get 1 or 2 spawns there, just general barter items again. And on this crate, you can see there's an ammo box right here. We'll quickly check that. Yeah, general ammo right there. And then on these blue barrels right here, you can get a couple of weapon attachments for spawn as well. I head up the stairs here. I like to head over to the left first and check out this little metal shed. Inside of here can be a couple of barter items on the shelves, as well as you can see a toolbox right here. Quickly check inside there. I think these can spawn fuel. Sometimes you got to get pretty lucky. Alright, heading inside. Before we go inside, actually, I like to check this little hidden away nook right here. Sometimes on here, a couple of barter items as well as fuel can spawn right here. Same with on the ground around the 2 barrels right here, as well as on the tops. You can sometimes find some items, and in amongst all this rubbish that's on the ground here as well. So we're heading around inside the second shed. On the right here, there's going to be a couple of jackets can spawn along this shelf right here. There can be up to 3, I believe, spawn there. And check all those. You can find keys and other kind of more useful items in there. Table here has more loose items, and then this table in here, again, weapon attachments. These shelves here, more barter items. Usually very common to find nuts and bolts and these kind of things in here. Awls, or however you say, AWLs, hoses, that kind of stuff. Heading around, another food and beverage spawn right here on the table. I've found moonshines on here quite often. It's always a good idea to check. And then on top of this crate right here can be a luggage that spawns right here. Good idea to check that just to be safe. Sometimes there can be some pretty high tier items in the luggage containers. Just quickly check along this bench here. Sometimes there can be some items that spawn underneath this plank right here, as well as inside of this little thing right here. Sometimes you got to get right up on top and look down just to see if there is anything inside. Again, it's just general barter items. Same with the table here, another barter item table, and then this one right here is usually 1 to 2 weapon attachments that will spawn right here on the paper, and then there can be an ammo box that spawns right here on the table. Again, this shelf in the corner is a potential fuel spawn. It's a good idea to check here. There's not too often things spawn on here, but it is a good idea to check as you're passing through. On the table here, more barter items, and on the shelf as well, more barter items, and then inside this fridge there can be food and beverage spawns. I've found moonshines again in here before, sugars, that kind of thing. It's a good idea to check as you're passing through. I like to go out, quickly check this little crate right here. It's usually just general barter items again, nothing too special, but if you're after something particular, it's worth having a look. As you can see, it's just general barter items. Always open up the back of this car. I've never actually found one thing inside of here before, but I like to just check anyway. And then heading into this center section here, a lot of fuel spawns. You can find them inside the van as well as on the ground around here. So there can be, now as we pass through here, I have found bitcoins on the floor right here by the van, as well as other gold spawns. So it's a good idea to check very carefully on the floor right here, all the way around all these cars. Again, we're in an offline raid, so the items probably aren't going to spawn as frequently. Got a suitcase in the back here. Good idea to check these. Sometimes you can find some pretty decent things. If they're there, it's a good idea to just quickly check. Another food spawn right here. This can spawn food as well as the cigarettes. Again, early task items. Good idea to check as we pass through. Another weapon box right here. Good idea to check these out. You can find body armors, backpacks, there we go, that kind of thing in here, as well as ammo and other attachments for your weapons. And as we head around, check inside all these little areas right here. There can be things that spawn just on the floor right there, as well as behind the forklift right here, and alongside the van right here on the floor. And then we go around the front on these crates. There could be more barter items that spawn, fuel as well, and on this one right here. I like to run inside of this little hut. There can be another weapon box that spawn right there, as well as weapon attachments on the table. Inside of here, weapon box on the floor, and then another food and beverage spawn right here. We got some vodka right there. You can find moonshines in here. I've found quite a lot in this building before. I always come and check in here. I like to head over here. There can be another weapon box that spawns in this corner right here, and inside of this room I have found quite a lot of gold spawns up inside of this mattress, so it's a good idea to walk across the mattress and just have a quick scan. As you can see, there's an item here on the floor, but sometimes they do spawn right up in the mattress. I have found bitcoins in here before, so it's a good idea to check this place out. A couple more barter items can spawn right here on top and on the ground right here next to the barrels. And then we have one more medical crate right here. I like to just quickly check through these. Sometimes can find lures and other early task items. Can be a box that spawns right here. It's not there this time. And on the ground right here, more weapon attachments. As we head around the back, I like to check this little table. There can be a grenade box that spawns right here, a weapon attachment here, and a few barter items around the back. And this is a little tricky one. I think it's a bug in the game, but there is items, as you can see, that are in the ground. I've found some pretty decent gold spawns here before, a few bitcoins, GP coins, but you do have to check carefully. Sometimes you can't even see them. This one's a bigger item, so the top of it's poking out, but sometimes you've really got to look around just to make sure that there is or isn't anything there. I like to head along the back here and just check on the floor. There can sometimes be items and toolboxes that spawn along here. Same within this little corner right here. There's sometimes a couple of items spawn on the ground right here. And then as we head around, we're going to go through these trees on the ground again. There can be a couple of items that spawn and a box right here. This is another general barter box, barter items. And there's a food and beverage spawn right here. And I like to head back. We're kind of coming to the end of the guide now. A couple more spots to hit before we head to exfil. I like to quickly run down to this concrete wall ahead of us right here. There's a couple of spots where I found some more gold spawns, as well as I'll show you a couple of weapon attachment spawns. Right here in the back of this trailer on the right, there can be up to 3 weapon attachments that spawn right here. And as we go around the front, a couple of barter items right here. Found some GP coins. I think that's one right there actually. Yeah, there we go. GP coin. And toolbox spawn, as well as a couple of loose items on the ground right here. This is just general barter items, usually inside of the toolboxes. But you can sometimes find fuel in there. It's always a good idea to check if you're in the area anyway. And then we run down the shooting range on the right here. There can be a weapon box that spawns right here. Quickly check that. And last spot in this area we're going to check is the dead scav behind us. So again, weapon attachments, some ammo, some clothing, that kind of stuff. And last spot we're going to check is the dead scav right here. I've found some GPUs, Bitcoins, GP coins, gold skull rings. There's all kinds of things that spawn on him. Good idea to check. And then along the floor here, there can be ammo and attachments that spawn just randomly on the floor here. You kind of got to look pretty carefully as they blend in pretty well with the rubble on the ground here, but always a good idea to check. You can find some good ammo on the ground there. Now we're going to head towards the exfil. There's a couple more spots to just quickly check as we're heading towards the exfil. What I like to do is let my stamina recharge because we do have to make a sprint across this little open field here. And run along this fence up here on the north side. As we're running along and we get a little closer to these buildings up ahead, you'll see on the right there's the car exfil. This is for PMCs. If you see that car still there, it's a good idea to sort of just go a little slowly through this area, as there could be PMCs kind of waiting around camping the extract or just heading for it in general, so just keep your eyes open as you head through here. I like to just check these buildings. Sometimes you can find some food spawns right here and on the floor and on the chair, as well as a couple of barter items, and also inside of this little jacket on the stool right here. Again, up in this little second story building right here, there can be a couple of food spawns on the table and on the floor here, and a couple of barter items on the shelves right here. Last couple of spots, we've got general barter items that will spawn on the ground right here, and it is pretty common to find fuel around here too. You can check inside these crates. There can be a toolbox spawns right here, and right around the edges of all of here there can be just general barter items that will spawn. And lastly, check this spot right here, general barter items again, and inside, flashlight on, there can be a toolbox that spawns right here, and some general barter items will be on the floor around the edges. Gotta look pretty closely because it is kind of dark in there. I should have pointed out, guys, I'll quickly show you, there's another hidden cache spawn right here in amongst these trees, just past this big tree right here. On the little mound there can be a hidden cache that spawns right there. So once we've checked out this area, I like to we can go one of two ways. You can check over the back of this fence here, climb up on here, and you'll see there's another luggage container right there and a toolbox right there. It is a little bit exposed right here, so be careful as you check this one out. That one, and now we're going to head up to the exfil. This exfil is the old bunker exfil, which is just up here in amongst the mountainside. So on the way there, I like to kind of stay in between these two hills on either side, just for a little bit of cover. It doesn't provide too much, but then I run up to the side here and stay in the shadows if I can. And right before we head up this hill here, there's one more hidden cache right here, as you can see. It is pretty exposed, so probably a good idea to tuck up into the bushes and see if you can loot it from a bit of cover. But that is the last spot we're going to hit before we go to the old bunker exfil. As you run through these trees, you'll see the bunker right here. That is the exfil. I don't actually have it active right now because I'm a PMC in this raid. But that's about it, guys. This is my favorite like sort of early game scav run. This is mainly just for gathering items to upgrade your hideout, and even some early task items, find in raid and extract items. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be trying to pump out a couple more of these guides in the near future, so thank you so much for stopping by, paying attention, and leave a comment down below if you found this useful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.